I proposed to my girlfriend at her favorite restaurant. She laughed in my face and told the entire dining room I was just for fun. So I'm sitting here at 2 a.m., can't sleep, and I keep replaying what happened tonight. I'm a fire captain, right? I've pulled people out of burning buildings. I've held pressure on wounds while waiting for paramedics. I thought I was pretty good at handling high-stress situations. Turns out public humiliation hits different. Let me back up. My girlfriend Sloane and I have been together for 3 years. She manages this luxury furniture showroom downtown, the kind of place where a couch costs more than my truck. She's good at it too, always networking, always posting about the story behind each piece, always in the spotlight. I'm more of a background guy. I show up, do my job, go home. We balanced each other out, or so I thought. We moved in together about 10 months ago. I'm the kind of guy who fixes things, you know. The dishwasher breaks, I fix it. Her car makes a weird noise, I figure it out. She has a rough day at work, I'm there with dinner ready. I drove her to her mom's place 2 hours away every other weekend. I built shelves for her ever-growing collection of design books. I thought we were building something real. Last month I started thinking about proposing. Nothing crazy, just the next step felt right. We talked about it before in vague terms. Her friends were all getting engaged. It felt like the natural progression. I spent 3 weeks planning. Sloane has this Italian restaurant she loves, Romano's, where she's always taking photos for Instagram. The lighting is perfect, she says. The owner knows her by name. I figured it would mean something to propose there. Not a flash mob situation, just intimate enough but with enough people around to make it feel special. A story she could tell. I made the reservation for tonight. Asked for the corner table near the window, the one she always requests. I even coordinated with the owner, Giulia, who was excited to help. Got the ring 2 weeks ago after basically interrogating her best friend Tessa about what style Sloane would want. Platinum band, oval diamond, delicate setting. Cost me 4 months of paychecks, but whatever, it was for the rest of our lives, right? Here's where it gets bad. We got there around 7:30. Sloane looked amazing, she always does. Red dress, hair done, the whole thing. She was in a good mood, laughing, telling me about some client who wanted to ship a dining table to Dubai. The restaurant was busy but not packed. I waited until after the main course. My hands were sweating. I'm not a nervous guy usually, but my heart was hammering. I stood up, and I saw Sloane's expression shift, like she suddenly realized what was happening. Then I got down on one knee. The restaurant got quiet, the way it always does when someone proposes. You could hear the music playing softly in the background. I started my little speech, the one I'd practiced in my truck during lunch breaks. Told her she made me want to be better, that I wanted to build a life with her, that I couldn't imagine my future without her. I opened the ring box, and she laughed, not like a nervous giggle. A full, loud laugh that echoed off the walls. People turned to look. The couple at the next table froze mid-bite. Then she said it loud enough for everyone to hear. "You're not my future, you're just for fun. Don't try to trap me with a ring." I'm not exaggerating. Those were her exact words. The restaurant went completely silent. Even the music seemed to cut out, though that might just be how I remember it. Giulia, the owner, was standing there with a dessert menu, mouth open. Some guy at the bar looked like he wanted to disappear into his drink. I stayed down on one knee for another second, processing what I'd just heard. Then I stood up, closed the ring box. I don't know where it came from, but I just felt empty. Not angry, not sad, just blank. Like someone hit the off switch. I smiled at her. "Yeah, that makes sense." She had the audacity to be shocked at my reaction. I cut her off by calling the waiter over. I paid the entire bill in cash, left a 40% tip because none of this was their fault, and walked toward the door. Sloane was still sitting there, looking confused now instead of amused. She caught up to me in the parking lot, suddenly angry. "Are you seriously leaving?" I remember my exact response because it felt like someone else was saying it. "You wanted casual, I'm matching the energy." Got in my truck and drove home. She tried calling 4 times on the drive. I didn't answer. When I got back to our apartment, I set the ring box on the kitchen counter like I was setting down my keys. Sloane texted saying she was going to Tessa's place to process and not to wait up. Fine by me. I didn't cry. I didn't punch anything. I didn't post some dramatic status update. I just stood there for a while, then opened a beer, and now I'm here telling you guys about it. I don't even feel heartbroken. I just feel like someone reached in and flipped a switch to off. Is this normal, to feel nothing? I've seen guys at the station go through breakups and they're usually a mess. I'm just numb. Anyway, that's my night. I guess I'm single now and I've got a $7,000 ring sitting on my kitchen counter. Edit, reading through the comments. For those asking about the living situation, we're both on the lease. It expires in 2 months. I'll figure it out. Update 1. So I didn't expect my last post to blow up like that. Thanks for all the support, even the harsh comments telling me to grow a spine. I needed to hear it. Quick update on what's been happening since Romano's. Short version. I took everyone's advice about treating this like the casual relationship Sloane said it was, and apparently that's not what she actually wanted. The night I posted, Sloane came home around midnight. I was in bed already, not sleeping, just staring at the ceiling. She came into the bedroom and tried to talk. Said she didn't mean it like that and I was overreacting. I just said I was tired and rolled over. She stood there for a while, then left. Next morning I got up early for my shift. I've been pulling extra hours at the station, partly because we're short-staffed, partly because I don't want to be home and be in the same space as her. When you're casual with someone, you don't rearrange your life around them, right? Here's where I started implementing what you guys suggested: boundaries. I stopped doing all the little things I used to do. No more good morning texts. No more asking about her day. No more surprise coffee runs. No more fixing things around the apartment. When she texts me, I respond, but it's minimal. Cool. Okay, can't, I'm working. That kind of thing. At first, she didn't seem to notice. She was still texting me like normal, sending memes, complaining about clients, asking what I wanted for dinner. I kept my responses short and polite. Factual, the way you text a roommate you barely know. By day 3, she started asking what was wrong. You seem distant. Are you mad at me? I told her I wasn't mad, I was just keeping things light. Her words, not mine. She didn't like that answer but couldn't do anything about it either. Day 4 was when she changed tactics. Started posting Instagram stories. One was a quote about freedom over pressure, with some aesthetic sunset background. Another was choosing myself, with a photo of her at the showroom looking contemplative. Her friend Tessa was all over the comments with stuff like "Queen energy" and "You deserve someone who gets it." I didn't like or comment on any of it. Didn't even watch the stories, honestly, but people sent me screenshots asking if we were okay. I just said we were figuring things out. The weird part started earlier this week. I go to the gym near the station every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday morning before my shift. Always the same time, 5:30 a.m. Guess who showed up Wednesday at 5:30? Sloane. At a gym she's never been to before, 20 minutes from her work, nowhere near her usual route. She acted surprised to see me. Oh my God, what are the chances? The chances were 0, Sloane. You hate mornings and you haven't voluntarily exercised since we hiked that trail last spring and you complained for 2 days after. She tried to chat. I kept my headphones in, nodded politely, went about my workout. Left before she did. Thursday afternoon, I grabbed coffee at this place I go to sometimes during shift breaks. It's not Instagrammable or trendy, just a regular coffee shop where the coffee is good and the barista knows my order. I was sitting there reading a report when Sloane walked in, acted shocked to see me. Again, this time I called it. You tracking my schedule now? That's not very casual, you know. She got defensive, said she was just in the neighborhood. The neighborhood that's a 15-minute drive from her showroom in the opposite direction of her usual errands. Sure, last night was the most concerning. I was home for once, heating up leftovers when she came home from work. She tried to be all domestic, asking if I wanted her to cook something, suggesting we watch that show we'd been following. I told her I was good, I'd already eaten, and I had to review some training materials. She got upset then, like actually upset, not the fake concern from before. Why are you being like this? She said. We need to talk about what happened. I stayed calm. I thought you didn't want serious, I'm just respecting that. That's not what I meant. Then what did you mean, Sloane? Because you said it pretty clearly in front of a room full of people. She didn't have an answer for that. Just stood there opening and closing her mouth like she was trying to find words that would make it make sense. Eventually, she went to the bedroom and slammed the door. The thing is, I'm not trying to punish her. I'm not playing games. I'm genuinely just done giving more than I receive. If this is casual, then it's casual. I'm not bending myself into shapes to fit her aesthetic anymore. But here's the wild part. I got a text this morning from her younger sister, Bree. We've always been cool, she's straightforward and doesn't do drama. The text said, we need to talk, but not at your place. I don't know what that means, but I'm meeting her tomorrow after my shift. She said she has information I need to hear. So yeah, that's where things stand. I'm not falling apart. I'm not begging her to reconsider. I'm just living my life, and apparently that's making her crazy. Someone in my last post said that when you stop playing their game, they lose their mind because they lose control. I'm starting to see what you meant. Edit. People asking if Bree might be setting me up for Sloane. I don't think so. Bree's always been the honest one in that family. She called Sloane out on her bullshit before, and Sloane doesn't really talk to her because of it. But I'll be careful. For everyone saying to move out, I'm looking at options. My buddy Miles at the station has a spare room and offered it to me. Just trying to figure out logistics with the lease. Update 2. I need to write this down while it's fresh because I'm still processing what the hell I just learned. Met with Bree yesterday evening at a coffee shop across town, nowhere near either of our usual spots. She looked uncomfortable, which isn't like her. Bree's normally the most direct person I know, tells it like it is, doesn't sugarcoat anything. She got straight to it. What Sloane did at Romano's wasn't spontaneous. She and Tessa planned it. I'm going to transcribe this as accurately as I can remember because it's important. According to Bree, about 2 weeks before I proposed, Sloane told Tessa she thought I was going to propose soon. Not because I'd said anything, but because she'd noticed me being secretive, and I'd asked her friend about ring preferences. Instead of being excited, she panicked. Here's the thing that makes me want to put my fist through a wall. She didn't panic because she didn't want to marry me. She panicked because she didn't want to lose control. Bree showed me screenshots from a group chat. She'd managed to get them from someone else in the chat who was disgusted by the whole thing and sent them to her. The names were blacked out except for Sloane's and Tessa's, but the content was clear enough. The plan was this: publicly reject me in a humiliating way. The theory, according to Tessa's messages, was that I would be so shocked and hurt that I'd either break down in the moment or come back later desperate to fix things and prove my worth. At that point, Sloane could graciously take me back, but on her terms. I'd be so grateful she forgave me for proposing, I guess, that I'd basically do whatever she wanted forever. One message from Tessa literally said, "Make him fight for you. If he walks away, he never really loved you anyway." Another one from Sloane, "Public rejection equals power reset. He'll either man up or prove he was weak all along." There was a whole discussion about how it needed to be public for maximum impact, how the humiliation would break me down and make me more moldable. I'm not exaggerating. These are the actual terms they used. But wait, it gets worse. Bree told me something else that I didn't see coming. Sloane's been keeping a backup option. There's this guy, one of her high-end clients at the showroom, some finance dude with money. She's not officially dating him, but she's been maintaining the connection, as Bree put it. Texting, having coffee, keeping him interested. Tessa's advice in the chat was basically, keep Caleb for stability, keep finance guy's name was redacted as an option. Best of both worlds until you figure out what you really want. I sat there reading these screenshots on Bree's phone, and I wasn't even angry. Just this cold clarity, like everything suddenly made sense. Every time Sloane got weird about me meeting her work friends, every time she'd go dark for hours and then come back with some elaborate story, every time she needed space but freaked out when I actually gave it to her. I asked Bree why she was telling me this. She said, "Because you're a good person and my sister is treating this like a game, and because I know Tessa's planning something else." Apparently, Tessa's been pushing Sloane to do a round 2. Some kind of public scene where they make me look like the bad guy if I don't take her back. Bree didn't have all the details, but she heard them talking about it, and it made her sick enough to reach out. I asked what I should do. Bree just shook her head. That's up to you. But whatever you do, know that they're treating this like a script. They think they know how you'll react. Don't give them what they expect. We sat there for a while longer. She apologized for her sister, said she didn't recognize this version of Sloane. Said Tessa was toxic and had made Sloane worse over the years, but that didn't excuse anything. I drove home in a fog. Not angry, not sad, just this weird, detached feeling like I was watching my life from outside my body. When I got back to the apartment, Sloane wasn't home. I sat on the couch with the lights off for probably an hour just thinking. Then I texted my buddy Miles. It's a script. They planned the whole thing. He texted back, "What do you need? A place to crash in 2 weeks. Done. Here's what I've decided. If they want theater, I'll give them theater. But the ending is going to be mine, not theirs. I'm done being a character in someone else's story." Edit. A lot of you are asking what I'm planning. I don't have all the details figured out yet, but I know one thing. I'm not going to blow up or cause a scene. That's what they want. I'm going to be exactly what I've been since Romano's, calm, controlled, and completely done. And yes, I took screenshots of Bree's screenshots. I'm not stupid. I have proof if I need it. Edit 2. People saying I should just ghost and leave. I'm on the lease for 2 more months. I'm not screwing over my credit or letting her have the apartment we both pay for. I'll handle this the right way, just on my timeline. Final update. This is going to be my last post about this situation. After today, I'm moving on with my life and leaving this chapter behind. Sloane made her move yesterday, and it was exactly as theatrical as Bree warned me it would be. She texted me 3 days ago asking if we could meet to really talk things through. Said she'd been thinking about everything and wanted to apologize properly. Suggested we meet at Romano's because we needed to face what happened there together. I knew immediately this was the setup Bree had mentioned. Romano's, the same restaurant, the same public stage. I almost said no. But then I thought about what Bree said. They think they know how I'll react. Don't give them what they expect. So I said yes. I showed up yesterday at 7 p.m., same time as our original reservation. The place was busy again, Saturday night dinner rush. I got there first and I noticed right away that Sloane had arranged things. Same corner table as last time. Tessa was there with 2 other friends, sitting 3 tables over trying to look casual. Sloane arrived 10 minutes late, which I'm sure was strategic. She looked perfect, like she'd spent hours getting ready. Red dress again, different one but similar style. She hugged me when she sat down, something she hadn't done in 2 weeks. I kept my arms at my sides. We ordered drinks. She started talking about how she'd been processing and working on herself and realizing what matters. Very Instagram caption energy. I just listened, drinking my water, not really reacting. Then halfway through her main course, she did it. She stood up, and I swear I saw her glance at Tessa's table before she moved. She came around to my side, and before I fully registered what was happening, she was on one knee. She'd brought a ring. Not the one I'd bought, obviously. Something she must have picked up, looked like costume jewelry, honestly. And she said, loud enough for nearby tables to hear, "I'm ready now, I choose you, please give me another chance." The restaurant got quiet again, just like last time. People were watching. Tessa had her phone out, probably recording. Giulia looked mortified behind the bar. I could see the trap clearly. If I said no, I'd be the cold-hearted asshole who rejected a woman's heartfelt apology. If I said yes, I'd be right back where she wanted me, grateful, subordinate, controlled. I didn't get angry, didn't raise my voice. I just said clearly and calmly, "Get up, Sloane." She stayed kneeling, confused. "What? This isn't real. You don't love me, so just get up." People were definitely listening now. I saw a few heads nod. Sloane's face went from confused to mortified. Tessa started to stand up, probably to run interference, but I wasn't done. I pulled out my phone, opened up the screenshots I'd taken of the group chat messages, set my phone on the table facing Sloane so she could see. The messages about power reset. The messages about making him fight. I kept my voice level. This isn't an apology, Sloan. I already knew it. I knew everything. You don't like that I stopped playing along with your game, so you need a storyline to take me back, to turn me into you can control for the rest of our life. Tessa was at our table now, trying to take control. Started going off about how I was toxic and manipulative and punishing Sloan for having feelings. Some deflection about how I was making her grovel. I cut her off. Casual was what she asked for. I just delivered what was ordered. That's when I made the decision to be done with the whole thing. I picked up my phone, put it in my pocket, and stood up. Dropped $40 on the table for my half of what we'd ordered. Looked at Sloan, who was still kneeling there looking lost. You don't have to explain. I get it. You need a spotlight. But I'm done being part of the show. I walked out. This time she didn't follow me to the parking lot. My phone started blowing up before I even got to my truck. First from Sloan, then from Tessa, then from numbers I didn't recognize. I turned it off for the drive home. By the time I turned it back on an hour later, Sloan had posted some long story about how I'd humiliated her and refused to let her apologize and made her into the villain when she was just trying to love me. But here's the thing that made me smile for the first time in 2 weeks. Bree had commented, just one sentence. There are screenshots. There was a plan. There was a script. That's all she said, but it was enough. The post came down within 20 minutes. Tessa locked her account. A few of Sloane's friends who'd been at Romano's started backing away from the situation. I slept at Miles' place last night. Didn't want to deal with the aftermath. This morning I went back to the apartment while Sloane was at work and grabbed my essential stuff. Left a note saying I'd be back for the rest before the lease is up and that we could communicate through text about logistics. This afternoon, I stopped by Romano's and apologized to Giulia for turning her restaurant into a drama staged twice. She actually laughed and said, "The second time you handled like a boss. First time too, actually. That girl was always trouble. So that's it." I'm crashing at Miles' place for now, looking at apartments, focusing on work. I don't feel like I won anything. I'm not celebrating. I just feel like I stopped playing a game I didn't know I was in. Sloane wanted someone she could control, someone who would chase her, someone who would make her the center of attention. I wanted a partner. We were never going to work. I'm not bitter. I'm not broken. I'm just free. Edit, a lot of people asking what happened with the lease. Sloane texted this morning saying she'll take over the full rent until it ends if I sign off on her taking over the apartment. Fine by me. My name gets off the lease. She gets to keep her perfectly curated living space. I get to move on. Edit 2. No, I'm not keeping the ring as a trophy or selling it or anything dramatic. I'm returning it to the jeweler this week. They said they'll give me 60% back, which is better than nothing. That money's going toward first and last on a new place. Edit 3. People asking about Bree. Yeah, we're still cool. She texted to check on me and said she's proud of me for not losing my composure. Said Sloane's been calling her crying, but she's not getting involved anymore. She did her part by warning me. I'm logging off now. Thanks again for everything, Reddit.